They're in the gate. And they're off. Doncic is hustled from the outside, but it's a very even break. Law-abiding an inch, but it's law-abiding who makes the lead rather easily and opens up a length. Stormy Samurai moves into second. Doncic on the outside of Shut Up Michael. They're followed by Inch and Cherubic Factor. It's law-abiding past the half-mile pole, a half length in front of Stormy Samurai. Doncic outside of them. Shut Up Michael is 4 lengths off the lead. Cherubic Factor starts his bid right now. Moves up to take fourth, 3 off the pace, and 2 more back to Inch. Heading to the quarter pole, law-abiding. Doncic moves boldly up alongside with the white blinkers, and steady progress for Cherubic Factor as Doncic is up to take the lead at the top of the stretch, chased intently by Cherubic Factor, and Cherubic Factor has taken command inside the final eighth of a mile. Doncic fights on bravely at the rail. It's Cherubic Factor, Doncic, Cherubic Factor, Cherubic Factor, Doncic coming back. Cherubic Factor, hard-fought decision. Doncic would not yield, but has to settle for second. Inch third, photo between Law-Abiding and Shut Up Michael. Gate goes in. They're off. Lemon Drop Shot, Vinny the Coin, extra innings in between them. My Amigo on the far outside. The early trailer, My Dad Is Thirsty. Down the back stretch, it's Vinny the Coin just in front. My Amigo, extra innings in between. 3 separated by just about a neck past the half-mile pole. Lemon Drop Shot has 2.5 to make up. My Dad Is Thirsty continues to trail. It's Vinny the Coin leading the way, opening up a length and a half now. Lemon Drop Shot moves into second. The 2 favorites will square off at the quarter pole. Here's Lemon Drop Shot up to Vinny the Coin. Vinny the Coin maintaining the lead as they turn for home. 3 back to My Amigo. Extra innings is next. Top of the stretch. Lemon Drop Shot on the outside, wresting the lead away from Vinny the Coin, who's fighting on bravely at the rail. It's Lemon Drop Shot, a half length past the 16th pole, and he's home. Lemon Drop Shot wins it going away by more than 2. Vinny the Coin second by a block, then My Amigo. In the jackpot. They're in the gate. And they're off. Nauvoo in the center out for the lead. Divine Feminine hard-ridden for early gas. Careless Kitten coming through along the inside. Big Sweet is next, and Algeria at the back of the field. Rounding the first turn, and it's Nauvoo to set the pace, running to the 6 furlong pole with a 2-length advantage. Big Swede takes second, followed by Divine Feminine in third. It's 2 more lengths back to Careless Kitten, and Algeria is the trailer. Onto the backstretch, the favorites are 1-2. It is Nauvoo in front by a length. Big Sweet is the chalk on the outside second. 2.5 more back to Divine Feminine third. Careless Kitten still fourth, now about 5 lengths off the leaders, and still nothing yet from Algeria. 12 lengths covers the field, heading to the 3/8 pole. It's Nauvoo in front, a half a length to Big Swede, trying to move in from second. 3 more lengths, Divine Feminine third. Careless Kitten fourth, 7 off the pace, and another 7 back to Algeria. They have a quarter of a mile to go, and Nauvoo is starting to open up. It's a 3-length lead now. Big Swede couldn't keep pace at this stage, under pressure. Careless Kitten progressing along the rail, and then Divine Feminine heading to the 8th pole. Nauvoo by 5. Careless Kitten moves clearly into second. Outside, Divine Feminine has a bit of interest. Big Swede is in between them. They pass the 16th pole, and it's Nauvoo. Back-to-back winners for Jonathan Wong in combination with Ramon Vasquez. 8 lengths or more when the smoke clears. Careless Kitten second, Divine Feminine, Big Swede. seconds. The third was named for Mass Mutual, Greater LA. In the fourth, take out the one side by. She's in. And they're off. Tennessee Moon and Irresistible Force both out alertly. So was Paid in Gold, who comes through to their inside. Slight bobble for In Color out of the gate, 3 lengths off the lead, and no early speed from our Kentucky Rose. Down the back stretch, and it's Paid in Gold coming through on the inside to be on even terms with Irresistible Force. Tennessee Moon 3 wide, keeping pace just a half length off them in third, and In Color will go around them 4 wide, going to the 3/8 pole. It's a gap of 5 to our Kentucky Rose. Paid in Gold by a nose with Irresistible Force. Irresistible Force now takes a slender lead. Tennessee Moon going on, and on the far outside, In Color. In Color covering real estate, but up to take the lead at the top of the stretch. Tennessee Moon is all out in second as In Color crosses over with a 2-length advantage and a furlong to finish the job. It's In Color running strongly, 3-length lead. Irresistible Force takes second on the inside of Tennessee Moon. It's going to be In Color. In Color wins easily. 4 lengths. Irresistible Force, Tennessee Moon, and our Kentucky Rose. And they're off. Zimba Warrior, Bold Endeavor, Impossible Task, one from the rail, and Motown Music very quick too. Zimba Warrior backs off that pace. Royal Act just behind the leaders, opts to tuck in, and the early trailer is Bilotti. Rounding the first turn, and it's Impossible Task, the gray to show the way. Bold Endeavor and Motown Music is down on the inside. Then Royal Act settled fourth, 2.5 off the pace, followed by Zimba Warrior and Bilotti. They swing onto the backstretch with Impossible Task leading 3/4 of a length. Bold Endeavor second. Then Royal Act, Motown Music side by side, third and fourth. Bilotti is inching a little bit closer in fifth with 3 to make up while in hand at this stage, leaving Zimba Warrior as the trailer with a half-mile left to run. It's Impossible Task. He's being worked upon as Bold Endeavor looms up alongside. And Royal Act keeps the pressure on the top pair. Bold Endeavor takes the lead now with 3 furlongs to run. Royal Act going with him, and Royal Act goes right on by. Royal Act quickly puts 3/4 of a length on Bold Endeavor. Then comes Motown Music, who angles off the rail. Bilotti is next. Impossible Task has dropped out, passed now by Zimba Warrior. Royal Act at the top of the stretch, opens up a 3-length lead. He's running on very strongly. Motown Music is moving after him in second. Then Bold Endeavor and Zimba Warrior coming to the 16th pole. Royal Act, Motown Music. Motown Music right up to Royal Act. Royal Act trying to fend off Motown Music. They're head and head. Motown Music on the outside. Motown Music got there. Royal Act second. It was a long way to Zimba Warrior and Bold Endeavor. Fun games and exciting live racing await you here at the Santa Anita Spring Carnival. They're in the gate. And they're off. Awkward start for Canderel at the back of the field. It's a quick one for Safa's Day, headed by Finally Here up to take the lead. Now there goes Il Capitano in the yellow colors. So it's Il Capitano and Finally Here dueling past the half-mile pole. 2 more lengths. Safa's Day is in third, followed by No Hang Charlie in fourth. Barsabas is racing in between horses. Haribo in the red outside of that pair up to take fourth, and slow starting Canderel at the back of the field. It's Finally Here on the inside, and Il Capitano Finally Here has wrested the lead and opens up a length and a half. Il Capitano couldn't quite keep pace. Haribo circling up 4 wide on the outside of Safa's Day, and down at the rail, No Hang Charlie an eighth to go. Finally here, Safa's Day running a big race in second, and from the back of the field, here's Canderel kicking into high gear. Does he have the time? Finally here, 2-length lead. Canderel motoring on the outside of Safa's Day. Finally here wins by a length. Canderel a hard charging second. Then Safa's Day, Haribo, and Barsabas. And they're off. Very even start. Shared future. There goes Ganadora now. And Ganadora sprints up to take the lead. Adair Manor is showing her gas as well. And Big Switch comes away on the outside of Shared Future. Una Chiquitita is at the back of the field. It's Adair Manor on the inside, who is quicker than Ganadora to the 6 furlong pole. Ganadora a length and a half back in second. Then Shared Future and Big Switch right together. 2 more back to Una Chiquitita. They swing on to the backstretch, and it's Adair Manor leading the way by just about a length. Ganadora second, a length and a half. Shared Future, Big Switch still side by side, and Una Chiquitita. Field heads to the half-mile pole with the odds-on favorite, Adair Manor, leading the way by a length and a half. Ganadora, Big Switch, Shared Future, 3 to Una Chiquitita. Big Switch is going to take a crack at Adair Manor with 3 furlongs to run. Adair Manor has been uncontested. Big Switch within a neck of her, but it's now back to 3/4 of a length as Adair Manor going on at the quarter pole. Bravo busy on Big Switch and posing a threat. Ganadora has dropped out of it. Shared Future is third. They're at the top of the stretch. Adair Manor and Big Switch. Adair Manor ahead in front. Big Switch working hard on the outside, trying to get by Adair Manor, who's still full of run on the inside. It's Adair Manor and Big Switch. Adair Manor, 3/4 of a length. Big Switch, valiant, trying so hard, but Adair Manor was too strong and beat her by about a head. Big Switch second. Shared Future was third. And they're off. Very even start. Shared Future. There goes Ganadora now. And Ganadora sprints up to take the lead. Adair Manor is showing her gas as well. And Big Switch comes away on the outside of Shared Future. Una Chiquitita is at the back of the field. It's Adair Manor on the inside, who is quicker than Ganadora to the 6 furlong pole. Ganadora a length and a half back in second. Then Shared Future and Big Switch right together. 2 more back to Una Chiquitita. They swing on to the backstretch, and it's Adair Manor leading the way by just about a length. Ganadora second, a length and a half. Shared Future, Big Switch still side by side, and Una Chiquitita. Field heads to the half-mile pole with the odds-on favorite, Adair Manor, leading the way by a length and a half. Ganadora, Big Switch, Shared Future, 3 to Una Chiquitita. Big Switch is going to take a crack at Adair Manor with 3 furlongs to run. Adair Manor has been uncontested. Big Switch within a neck of her, but it's now back to 3/4 of a length as Adair Manor going on at the quarter pole. Bravo busy on Big Switch and posing a threat. Ganadora has dropped out of it. Shared Future is third. They're at the top of the stretch. Adair Manor and Big Switch. Adair Manor ahead in front. Big Switch working hard on the outside, trying to get by Adair Manor, who's still full of run on the inside. It's Adair Manor and Big Switch. Adair Manor, 3/4 of a length. Big Switch, valiant, trying so hard, but Adair Manor was too strong and beat her by about a head. Big Switch second. Shared Future was third. Point and shoot. And they're off. Golden Temper is going to the front, immediately tackled by Storm Doro. And then comes Golden again, who backs off the top pair in third. Like No Other is next. Carol Lombard settles fifth, moves toward the inside. Point and Shoot and Big Hopes at the back of the field. The pace appears honest into the first turn as Storm Doro goes on to lead by about a length. At the rail, Golden Temper is in second, a length and a half back to Like No Other third. Golden again tucked in fourth, three off the pace, followed by Carol Lombard, Big Hopes, and Point and Shoot. Down the back stretch, Storm Doro. Golden Temper protecting that rail and going on matching strides. And just behind them, Like No Other in the three path, just a half length off the pace in third. Then Golden again, racing in fourth with less than a half mile to travel. Carol Lombard is racing fifth, and she's been there throughout. They're followed by Big Hopes, who's down on the inside of Point and Shoot. 5 lengths covers them, rounding the far turn. Golden Temper, Like No Other, Storm Doro in between them. Down at the rail, Golden again. Carol Lombard has no choice. She has to go 4 wide, but is only a length and a half off the lead. Big Hopes in behind her as the field turns for home. Golden Temper, Golden again gets some racing room, but Carol Lombard has lengthened stride and opened up. Carol Lombard sprinting through the stretch. Golden again on the inside second, followed by Big Hopes on the scene late. It's Carol Lombard by a half length to a tough Golden again. A triple for Ramon Vasquez. Carol Lombard takes care of business. Golden again was second. Big Hopes, Golden Temper, and Like No Other.
For college basketball fans, it's Final Four day, and for horse racing fans, it's also Final Four day, if you think about it, right? Particularly as it relates to the Kentucky Derby. There's two major Kentucky Derby preps today, of course, at our sister track at Gulfstream Park, the Florida Derby, also at Oaklawn Park, the Arkansas Derby, and then next weekend, of course, the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby here, as well as the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Quigley, VIP Player Concierge, your seminar host for the next 35 minutes or so. Delighted that you decided to join us on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here at the Great Race Place. And our seminar guest today reminds me of a very famous college basketball coach. You might have heard him. His name is Bobby Knight. He was interviewed by reporters one day, and he looked at me and said, "I forgot more about this effing game than all you guys are ever going to know." And that's true with our seminar guest today, because he's forgotten more about handicapping than most of us will ever know. He's the El Jefe of the press box. His name, Jeff Siegel. Jeff, happy Saturday. Welcome to the seminar.
At my age, I forgot a lot of things.
But of course, you remember Bobby Knight.
At least I hope I do, anyway.
You do.
We got a good card today here at Santa Anita, challenging, great racing around the country. You mentioned Santa Anita Derby Day next week. That's going to be fun and impactful as we get closer and closer to the first Saturday in May. But today is the day we want to make some money, and I think the card gives us a chance to do that.
I think we can. And next Saturday, Jeff, that you alluded to, there's 6 stakes races, not only the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby, but also the Santa Anita Oaks and many other stakes races as well. So that's going to be a star-driven, fun-filled afternoon, that's for sure. But we're going to talk about horses for the next 35 minutes or so. But let's take a break and talk a minute or two about college basketball, because it's really the second love for both you and I. And as I mentioned, there's 2 Final Four games today. The first game is Florida Atlantic versus San Diego State. All the 4 of these teams really weren't expected to make it to the Final Four. Gun to your head, who do you think is going to win that first game?
I think San Diego State's got a good chance to win because they play good defense. They'll slow the game down. If they can get Florida Atlantic to play their game, then I think they can grind it out. But having said that, I don't think anybody's going to beat UConn, who I think obviously will win today. So they're really good. We saw them last week back in Vegas. You were there, and I was there too. And they don't have a weakness. They're just good. Every part of the game they've got covered. So I think they'll win.
Miami, Florida does play UConn in the second game, and you're right. Right now in Las Vegas, if you wanted to pick the eventual champion, Connecticut is the heavy -140 favorite. It's understandable because we saw them play in person. I'm not sure how much translated to TV, but Danny Hurley, the coach, just stood there on the sidelines, never really instructed his players what to do, and they almost looked like a pro team. And they've played that way throughout the entire tournament.
They did, and that's what makes them so tough to beat, because they know how to win and they know how to play their game, and they can adjust to any kind of game. But they shoot the ball well, they run the floor, they play defense, they've got good interior defense, obviously. So, I mean, to me, they might have won it even if the Blue Bloods had made their way. As it is, it looks like a relatively easy path. Nothing's really easy when it gets down to the Final Four, but I think most people like where they stand right now.
Speaking of an easy path, Jeff, circling back to horse racing in the Florida Derby later on this afternoon, it looks like there's an easy path for the Todd Pletcher runner, although he did draw an outside post, which can be disadvantageous. What are your initial thoughts on the Florida Derby? I know you looked at it and spent some time handicapping it.
Actually, from the outside draw with a relatively short run of the clubhouse turn, you would have thought that maybe that's going to be not a good place to be. And maybe it'll turn out it won't be. But I don't think it'll bother him, because I'd rather be out there where, all right, he's going to lose some ground, but at least to be in the clear. He'll move when he wants to move. He won't be, suffocated inside. If he was inside and didn't break that well, or if he doesn't show the tactical speed that they would want him to show from the inside, he might get swallowed up a little bit. But from the outside, I'll let him lose some ground with the with the trade-off that he can move what he wants to move. And his win in the Fountain of Youth, and I only thought he was like 80% that day.
Breathtaking, wasn't it?
He was, and he did it so easily. I'm not even sure he's 100% today. I don't think he has to be. That's how good I think he is. He's come back. He was obviously a good 2-year-old, was a champion, but I think he's better now than he was as a 2. And not all horses make that transition, but I think he has.
One of the West Coast runners shipping out there for the Florida Derby is Fort Bragg from the Tim Yock team run. We've seen him run out here. He's a difficult horse to ride. Do you think he has any chance of maybe completing the exacta?
Oh, I think he probably will. I love the way he's been training. He's been breezing really well out here at Santa Anita. He's obviously coming out of some tough races. Practical move and those kind of horses, they're better than what Forte has been beating. But if you look at his races, you'd say, okay, more than good enough to run second. but I don't know about beating Forte because I don't think we've seen the best of Forte. But I think those are the two. I mean, if they both get good trips, I think they'll separate themselves from the field.
Tim Yakteen inherited a bunch of Bob Baffert runners, but ironically, his best runner might be one that he originally trained, who you mentioned, Practical Move. We'll see him next Saturday in the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby. He's a very, very talented 3-year-old, Jeff.
He really is. And what makes him so talented, not only is he good and fast, but he's tactical. And he behaves himself in the race. He's a very easy horse to ride because you can put him wherever you want him to be, and he's happy with it. He doesn't pull. He doesn't get rank. He's got enough speed to lay close up, and then he kicks it in late. He continues to train like a horse who we have not seen his best of. I think Practical Move is the one eventually at this stage that's going to be the one to beat. Forte is going to have to beat him in Kentucky.
We're always fast and tactical whenever we have Jeff Siegel as our seminar guest. We're going to try and kick it in and find out who Jeff likes on today's 9-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on the Saturday card here at the Great Race Place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast and the turf is firm. Rail on the turf at 20 feet. Here are the changes. In the first, scratch number 6, Carmen Miranda, there is a revised morning line in race number 1. Second race begins the early pick 4. Overweights, number 1, Shambhala Girl, 2 pounds over. 3, She's a Lucky Charm, 3 pounds over. 4, Miss Joe's Candy, 2 pounds over. And 5, Oak Creek Gal, 2 pounds over. In the third, scratch number 4, a new piece. In the fourth, number 2, Liftoff, 2 over. Scratch number 3, Text a Legend. Number 3, Text a Legend is out. Fourth race starts the Rainbow 6 with 306,000 in the carryover, and there is a revised morning line. Race 5, 3, Gold Coast Express, 2 pounds over. Number 9, We Need Marketing. Make the jockey Giovanni Franco. In the 6th, scratch number 7, Pedro Perez. The 7th is the grade 2 Royal Heroine. No changes. 8th race, 6, Chalcoon, 3 pounds over. 7, Don't Test Your Luck, 2 pounds over. Moving to the 9th. Scratch number 2, Sensible Move. Jockey change for 5, Good Buju, Ramon Vasquez. Those are the changes on today's card. Golden Hour pick 4 starts with the 8th. Golden Hour double starts with the 9th. We do once again have the Coast to Coast pick 5 as offered every Saturday and Sunday here, combining races from Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita Park with a low 15% takeout and a $1 minimum wager. Let's go back to the seminar at Quigley's Corner. Tom's special guest today is Jeff Siegel.
Welcome back. We're spending a Saturday afternoon talking horses with Jeff Siegel. He's been around for countless decades. I won't say how many, but certainly he's the dean of the press box, and he has multiple facets of experience, whether as a horse owner, a handicapper, an Eclipse Award-winning writer, TV broadcast personality. So it's our pleasure to have him today and take advantage of his expertise. So Jeff, you mentioned it's a really good card and we want to make money. So let's try and do just that in race number 1, which begins the 50-cent early pick 5. As you heard track announcer Frank Miramati say, turf is firm. The rails are at 20 feet, and we kick things off sprinting 6 furlongs on the flat turf course for fillies and mares. It's an allowance race, non-winners of 1 other than. Scratch the 6, leaves us with a field of 5. The revised morning line favorite is number 3, Procrastination from the Michael McCarthy barn at 2-1, but the current betting choice is number 5, Benedict Canyon, trained by Phil D'Amato, returning off a long layoff. Give us your thoughts on race 1, Jeff.
This is a tough race. Carmen Miranda would have been my top selection.
Of course.
She scratched. Now the race has just 5. I actually went with number 1, Power Surge, straight fire filly who has not been out since, almost just about a year. And she won a stakes last year when we last saw her. She really has trained well on the comeback for new trainer Brian Corner. She's a big, good-looking, powerful filly. That's why she brought 370 in the 2-year-old sale. And now the question is, can she fire fresh and can she handle grass? She's run very well on synthetic, which is not grass. It's like a
hybrid.
Yeah. I mean, if you can run on synthetic, maybe you'll run on grass. The inside draw shouldn't be a problem. I don't think she's quick enough to make the lead, but she should be able to save ground and then produce a second move. And she's won that way. I mean, that's what she really wants to do. So I like Power Surge here at a little bit of a gamble. She's 4-1. Denim and Gold is a 3-1. She might be the speed of the speed. If she gets loose, she could take them a long way. And so I think the inside two are decent chances here. And they're 3rd and 4th choices on the board, so that's not too bad. Power Surge we haven't seen in 51 weeks in the afternoon. You mentioned that she's a stakes winner. Well, she lit up the tote board last time she won for trainer Blaine Wright at odds of 76-1, and of course she's a private purchase since then, now under the leadership of JMS Stable. Race number 2, Jeff, begins the 50-cent early pick 4. We're sprinting on the main track, 6 furlongs in the distance. Main claiming Calbred, fillies and mares in for a $50,000 claiming tag. A field of 7, number 1, Shambhala Girl from the Red Hot Steve Knapp barn is the 5-2 morning line favorite. Always a difficult proposition, breaking from the rail for a first-time starter. Talk to us about race 2. I haven't seen anything from the first-time starters that would make me think that they're good enough to win a normal maiden 50. This is not a normal maiden 50. This is really soft race, and so a firster could win it. I actually went with number 6, Smiling Amy, on top because she's actually coming in from the maiden special weight to the maiden 50. That's a pretty significant class drop usually. And she's got speed, and I'm just hopeful that she can leave with her field and maybe open up early and then get brave. Against this group, that's all you might need to have to do is to get in front down the backstretch and then look for something that can close. Now, Blur's Day on the outside will be right there as well, but she's coming on a couple of route races. I'm not sure how quick she really is. I think those are the two. I'm going to take a stand against the firster, Shambhala Girl, number 1, Don's Dana. They're both low prices on the morning line, but as I say, I haven't seen anything from them that would lead me to believe that they're anything special. So I'll go 6/7, Smiling Amy over Blur's Day, giving the edge to those that have raced. Jeff, before we take a look at race number 3, just a question about the work you do for Santa Anita. Of course, you do a lot of work for Santa Anita, but a lot of your work is posted free of charge on the santanita.com website. Talk to us about your daily analysis and kind of what the content entails. Okay, so we put up a race-by-race analysis, wagering strategies, graded selections every racing day. You can get that at the santanita.com website under expert analysis. Then you can get it at expressbet.com, and you can get it on xbtv.com. It's all free, no charge there. And hopefully, we call it the what you need to know. It's not a straight analysis, it's information that maybe you can use to help make your own selections. And we give insights, and hopefully it'll help people pick their own winners. And you got workouts embedded in the analysis as well, so people don't even have to go look it up. They just click on the link and there it is. That's true, and we do look at some of the significant workouts. Of course, anybody can go to xbtv.com, type in the name of a horse and watch them. They don't have to wait for my stuff, but if it's there, look them up. There are some significant workouts, and we'll show one later this afternoon in our show that I think will impact your gambling. So definitely check out the workouts if not on my analysis, and certainly at xptv.com.
Let's take a look at race number 3. We're back on the turf course, again on the flat turf course, 6.5 furlongs of the distance, $25,000 claimers, fillies and mares. There is one scratch. Scratch the 4, leaves us with a field of 5. Number 2, Annie Song from the John Sadler barn is the 5-2 morning line favorite. Kind of a hard knocker who's dropping into the claiming ranks. Big drop. What do you think?
Well, I put her on top, but this is a race I would spread because there are too many question marks here. Annie Song has dull recent form, off the board in her last 4, but she's also dropping in to 25,000 for the first time after being claimed last summer for 75,000, and they protected her for a while, which means that she's probably sound. She just hasn't been running well, but maybe against this level of competition, she will find her friends and maybe wake up. I use her on top. I don't single her or anything else like that. I would also use Code Ribbon. She's a Bay Area invader. Her form up there was decent. She's consistent in the money 12 out of 15. She's run well on the synthetic. She's also run okay on grass. So I think she's got a chance here. She doesn't have any early speed, though. If Code Ribbon's going to do any running today, it'll be from off the pace. Whereas Annie Song can lay fairly close in a race that I think, Tom, quite frankly, it's going to have very, very soft early fractions. It's going to be a tactical race, and we'll see who gets the best trip.
Jeff, you dabble in the ownership and the breeding side of the game as well. And once in a while, we see a 2-year-old either bred or owned by you, or any 2-year-olds in the Jeff Siegel stable that might make an appearance either now or maybe down at Delmar?
Well, we have no 2-year-olds yet. We might find one because we usually go to the 2-year-old training sales. I only have one horse right now. Her name is Riding the Storm Out. She's a 3-year-old Candy Ride filly, training Breeze tomorrow. She had one run at Delmar last summer and ran really well, ran third, got beat a half length. So, and I don't think she's a sprinter. And we ran her 5/8 because she's a 2-year-old. But I think she's got a chance to be pretty good.
You were part of the Clover Racing stable when Martial Law upset the big cap way back when. I don't even remember the year. I'm guessing maybe around the mid-'80s. What are your remembrances of that day?
1989 it was.
Julio Canani was the trainer?
Yes, I remember. We remembered having one an allowance race. We put him in the big cap, which sounded like a crazy thing to do for a 50-1 shot, especially when we had the supplement for $40,000. And all I was thinking is, I don't care if you win, just like get the 40 back. You know?
Right. Don't embarrass us.
Finish 5th, exactly.
Yeah.
And the race going in the far turn, he was on the inside, and it was a point of no return. Either he was going to go on or he's going to fall back. And he never fell back. So I figured, okay, at least we'll maybe hit the board. And then all of a sudden he's in front at the 8th pole. I'm saying, oh my God, he's going to win? Maybe. 50-1, he won the big cap. And I mean, that's the greatest thrill I've ever had. And I probably ever will have.
An unforgettable moment, that's for sure. And certainly the grandstands were rocking that day. Race number 4, Jeff, begins the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. If you haven't heard, next Saturday, Run Happy San Diego Derby Day, mandatory pad on the Rainbow Pick 6. But first things first, the jackpot single ticket carryover now up to $306,000. That'll be yours if you're the only winning ticket in today's sequence. And we kick things off going 1 mile on the main track for maiden special weight. Scratch the original morning line favorite, number 3, Text the Legend, leaves us with a field of 5. Now the revised 4-5 morning line favorite is number 4, Ultimate Gamble, who the connections paid over $1 million for, has one good run at Delmar last summer, but hasn't been seen in the afternoon since. Talk to us about race 4, Jeff.
Well, if you look at the form, Ultimate Gamble was 4th beaten 12 lengths. That doesn't look all that great. Then you see, okay, who did he run with? Cave Rock, Practical Move, a belief in this living. I mean, why not just start him off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile?
We didn't know that was a stakes race disguised as a maiden special weight race.
And he was 3-1 in that race because he had trained really well leading up to the race. And I thought he had a chance to win it, although I thought Cave Rock would probably outrun that group, and he did. But Practical Move kind of tipped his hand when he ran second. But he disappeared after that race. Now he comes back. He's got a series of solid works. I don't think he's a sprinter. I understand why Mark Glatt's running him a mile. And the one horse in this race that really would have tested him, Text the Legend, has been scratched because he's got a good recent second place finish behind Skinner, but he's out. So now it doesn't look like Ultimate Gamble really has all that much to beat. And if he's going to be worth $1.75 million, he's going to have to beat this field. And I expect that he will.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at race number 5, Jeff. That begins the 50-cent late pick 5. Once again, we're sprinting, this time 5.5 furlongs in the turf course. This is for Calbred maiden special weights. We've got a good field of 9. Take note, the new jockey number 9, We Need Marketing, is Giovanni Franco. The morning line favorite, Bill Byrne, Joe, John, Nick, is 5-2 from Jeff Mullins' morning line. But there is a first-time starter in here from the Carla Gaines barn. Carla doesn't win very often first time out, but the runner's name is number 5. Tis a Good Thing, and we want to watch the workout on March 19th. Let's show that workout, Jeff, and tell us what you saw in the workout.
Well, this is a gate work, and this is a work on the 13th, and you can see him in front here. He's a very strong, powerful, scopy Vronsky colt with a lot of substance to him. This is a racehorse. Now, he's going to outwork his workmate here pretty easily. He's going to go 47 and change. Really kind of breezing here. He's not really being asked for much. He had been trained. He trained last summer as a 2-year-old here. I was very high on him at that time, but he never made it to the post. So finally, he's getting to the races here for Carla. And you point out that Carla doesn't win often with first-time starters. Hopefully this will prove to be the exception to the rule, because this colt has done everything in the morning like a quality colt, and most of the Vronskys are better on turf than they are on dirt, which is one of the reasons why I think this colt is debuting on grass. Just breezing here, 47 change. Could have gone much faster. A lot of substance to him, a lot of quality. Whereas the horses that have run, number 1, 6 feet, and number 6, Bill and Byrne, Joe, John, Nick, or whatever that horse's name. Anyway, they've got the recency. They've got the ability to have some recent form. But I don't think they have the upside that Tis a Good Thing has. That colt might be pretty decent. So I'm going to go with the firster, Tis a Good Thing. Hopefully he breaks well. At 5.5, that's a little sharp for him. But on the other hand, I don't think he'll be too far back. And if he's good enough to wear these 2 horses down, then I think he can win.
Jeff, a big question mark for me in race number 5 is the other first-time starter, number 2, Pars and Birdies from the George Papadromo barn, a 4-year-old gelded son of Stanford, making his debut. And the reason why I want to bring your attention to it is if you look at the workout line at San Luis Rey, it's 8 consecutive gate works. Now, you're an owner. You probably haven't seen many debut maidens have 8 consecutive gate works. If you had to read between the lines, does that mean it's a bad gate horse? Are they trying to get more speed into the horse? Like, kind of what's your independent evaluation of that workout line?
Well, I don't necessarily like it. In absence of specific, hey, tell me about this, and I don't know the specific information, but usually when you have a horse that works from the gate, there are 2 problems. One is they don't break, or number 2 is they won't work on the flat. They won't work alone, so you got to get company for them. So that's either case, it's not a real healthy sign up. But I'll tell you what is he's a 4-year-old gelding who could be running for maiden 20 just as easily. And they run him in a maiden special weight, so they must like him to a point where they don't want to lose him. But I would have to be tempted to say, I want to see one first. The works are, he's got a 47-2 gate work. That shows some ability. And I'm sure there is some kind of hope that he might be able to compete at this level. So on the basis of that, I wouldn't throw him out. But having said that, I've seen Tis a Good Thing work. We just saw the video. So I know what I think he can do.
Number 5, Tis a Good Thing, Jeff Siegel thinks could be a really good thing in race number 5. Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 4. Once again, we're sprinting 5.5 furlongs, this time on the main track. $10,000 is the claiming tag. Scratch the 7, leaves us with a field of 7. Number 6, Box of Chocolates, taking a slight drop down in class for trainer Jonathan Wong, is the 5-2 morning line favorite. What are your thoughts on race 6, Jeff?
This is a race where I'm going to just not get too creative. Number 3, Midnight Special, first off the claim. Dean Pedersen, very good horseman. And I think that this is a veteran gelding. I like the blinkers off angle. He's an old pro and gets in light. So there's a lot of positive things. He's been off since mid-February, so Dean's worked with him, and I think he's got him spot on for whatever Midnight Special is going to be capable of doing at this stage of his career. I think he'll do it today. Box of Chocolates is dropping down. This is the cheapest he's ever run. But I don't like the fact that he's 3 for 33 with 14 seconds and thirds. So he's the kind of horse that can get close. He doesn't seem to be able to, seal the deal. Having said that, at this level, based on his speed figures for a hot barner, Jonathan Wong's barn's heating up now. I mean, Box of Chocolates almost has to run well here. So I'm going to go 3 over 6. But in a race that probably I won't get too involved in.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at race number 7, Jeff. It's our feature race on the card. It's the Grade 2 Royal Heroine Stakes, $200,000 guaranteed for fillies and mares traveling 1 mile on the turf course. A field of 6. Number 3, Closing Remarks from the aforementioned Carla Gaines barn, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Before we get your thoughts on the race, you and I are old enough to remember Royal Heroine, trained by John Gosden and ridden by Fernando Tort. Maybe what do you remember about that Hall of Fame runner?
Well, she was a dark bay with a strip. I remember that, and she stood out. But she came over before we had a massive influx of Europeans. It wasn't quite in vogue then, and I remember she came over here, and I'd seen her train, and I think she actually may have run in an allowance race to start her North America career off, and she was breathtaking then. And we didn't know a lot about John Gosden. I think we know a lot more now than we knew then. But he brought her over here and for Robert Sangster. And what a fantastic mare. I think she invented the term turn of foot, because she would be sit. And Fernanda will, and she'd break on a dime like that.
And she was all hickory. I remember she finished second to John Henry in the Arlington Million as well. So she didn't need to run against the fillies and mares to bring her A game. She was very, very talented. Now, this race is named in her honor, as we mentioned. And so talk to us from a handicapping standpoint, who you like in race 7 and why.
Well, this is a group that kind of takes turns. And I don't know, maybe it's closing remarks terms. She certainly should have or could have won her last race in the Buena Vista. She was sitting behind a wall of horses, watching her on the inside. And all of a sudden,
she's in the Harris Farm Silks. They're right behind the little red feather filly.
Take a hold, Jack. No. That's it. That's the end of her, right?
And at that point, you would think she lost all chance.
She did lose all chance, but she made the most of it, because now, after all of that, and after losing 5 lengths at least, she's put in a position of almost an impossible situation. But let her run and see what she can do. So she angles wide into the stretch, and she's relentless here. Now, she doesn't have a great turn of foot. She's more of a grinder. But I love the way she stayed on here in the final furlong. She's going to wind up third, beaten less than 2 lengths. She lost more than that, didn't she, Tom?
No doubt about it.
So, I mean, here she is gobbling up the ground. But again, she doesn't blast home. She doesn't have that kind of speed. But in this race going a mile, I'm hopeful that she drops in somewhere in the second flight, gets cover, and then is allowed to, rally in the clear somewhere, find room or whatever. The one thing about her, though, is if you expect her to be behind horses and break at the furlong pole and quicken, that's not her. So I'm hopefully that Joe Bravo rides her with strategy that commences the rally before the quarter pole, because she's got a longer run, but she doesn't have a short burst. So I'm going to go with closing remarks to win it. Hopefully, if not, I think Nadette's got a chance here. She's another one you have to time her move right. You can't move too soon.
And Frankie might have moved too soon last time.
Definitely did. I mean, you got to sit, and run the last eighth of a mile. She's the complete opposite of closing remarks. Sit, get some cover, get in trouble for all I care, but don't let her run to the eighth pole, and she will blast home.
Now, Brad Free mentioned Say on the bottom, owned by the ambassador William Farish. It was purchased at auction over in Europe for $475,000 and appears here on the West Coast from the John Sadler barn. The good news is she probably has ability. The bad news is I'm not sure a mile is her best distance. Her last 2 races over in Ireland were at 1.5 miles and 1 1/8 miles. What do you think of Say's chances in this small field today, Jeff?
Talking with John Sadler yesterday about her, and he told me that he thought 1 mile was too sharp for her, but she trained well. But I don't think this is the most important race in her career. I mean, they'd love to win it. Obviously, it's a grade 2. But I think this is more of a starting point because some of the more expensive and more lucrative races for older fillies and mares are at 1.8 miles, 1.25 miles. I think that's what they want her to peak for. So I think they're hopeful that she runs well here, gets something out of the race, and then builds on that. So I wouldn't be surprised if she runs well. I don't know whether she'll win it at 1 mile, and especially in a race in which the pace situation is a little muddled, because you've got Honey Jar, who's clearly the lone front runner. And I tried her 2 races back. I thought in allowance race she would.
That was a bad beat.
And it was a bad. She had every chance, Then they backed her up to a sprint, which is what I think she wants to do. She won that. Now she's going 1 mile again. So I don't know if they're going to slow her down or let her roll. So the pace situation is a little muddled. But if they run fast early, then Sides will have a chance to get at least a piece of it and maybe a big piece.
And Very Scary says, hold my beer. I've got some speed as well. So we'll see what Very Scary's tactics are in terms of maybe going ding-dong up on the lead with Honey Jar.
That could happen. Now, what happens if they both go out there in 22 and 2 and 46? Okay, then you got a closer. If one backs off the other, then they go slow. So I don't know what these jocks are going to do. I never know what they're going to do.
And number 1, School Dance, trained by Phil D'Amato. He's won this race the last 2 years with runners you certainly remember. Going Global and Charmaine Mia were the last 2 winners of the Royal Heroine. Race number 8 begins the $1 Golden Hour Pick 4, linking our last 2 races here at the Great Race Place with our sister track up north, Golden Gate Fields. And we kick it off here on race number 8, going 1 mile on the main track for maiden claiming. $20,000 is the claiming tag. A good field of 8. Number 2, Batu Khan, who just missed last time out and was well clear of third, is the 6 6-5 morning line favorite. Blinkers come off. He's had 12 chances up to this point. Is today the day, Jeff?
I would think so. I just can't find an alternative here. I mean,
particularly from a speed figure standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, he dominates on speed figures. You pointed out he was more than 6 clear of everybody else, so he actually ran a winning race. His buyer numbers are actually rising. I love the blinkers off angle. He's run both of his races here on this track were good. There really isn't anything to fault him other than he's 0 for 12. He's not 0 for 12 against this group. So if he doesn't win it, I don't know who will. I mean, to me, he's a bad single because he's going to be underlaid, and yet find something to beat him. I wish I could find one. I can't.
I agree with you, Jeff. Let's take a look at race number 9 to close out the day. It also offers $5 golden hour daily double wagering. We close it out going 1 mile on the turf course for fillies and mares, starter optional claiming types. Scratch the 2 as a program scratch. Sensible move leaves us with a field of 11. Also take note, number 5, Good Bougie, will now be ridden by Ramon Vasquez, who had multiple wins on yesterday's card. And the morning line favorite, as I quickly scan the field here, appears to be number 8, Slam Diego from the Jeff Mullins barn. Certainly improved on turf last time out. Give us a winner to close it out, Jeff.
Well, I like an agent mistake. I'm not crazy about the 11 hole, or actually, would it be the 10 hole now? Because she won her first race sprinting, and then she ran well 2 turning in the China Doll. So the distance, it's kind of like the same pattern where you have a sprint and then you stretch out off one sprint. And she ran well in that race. She got a career top buyer number when she ran second in that race at 23-1. Then they got a little bit ambitious, okay? So then you're in a Keeneland and then running in Group 2 races over there. Spenderella, she's not beating Spenderella, right?
No chance.
Right, and then New Year's Eve. So then they stopped on her. They brought her back. She actually ran pretty darn good, I thought, in the sprint, got beat in neck, and now with that race under her belt, she stretches out, coming back in a couple of weeks. But I think an agent mistake maybe has a little bit more quality than the rest of these. As Slam Diego, who had to break her maiden for maiden 20, I don't think she has the credentials, and yet she did run well at this level last time out. And then Glen All, who was right behind her in that same race. So I make it 11 over 8 and 10. It's kind of a spread race. It's the last race, kind of a grass grab bag. But I think if she shows up with her A game, an agent mistake, number 11, should beat this field.
Jeff, it always catches my attention when the leading rider by many victories, Juan Hernandez, gets on a double-digit morning line horse. And that's the case here in race number 9 with number 4, Bye Bye Bugsy, who goes sprint to route, broke from the rail last time out. Granted, it's a 3-year-old running against older, but it's just the odds of 12-1 that kind of caught my eye. You give any sort of a punter's chance to Bye Bye Bugsy?
I wouldn't completely throw her out. She's coming off a couple of sprints. Her one 2-turn race or one 2-turn grass race was good. She won that on the lead. So 3-year-old against older, that doesn't bother me that much, especially when they're getting 8 pounds. So I think she's probably going to outrun her 12-1. I don't know if she's good enough to win, but again, this is a spread race. Would I throw her in? Probably, now that you pointed out exactly what I'm looking at right now. She looks a little bit better now on paper than what I looked at last night. So thanks for the push. I'll throw her in.
We're here to help, that's for sure, Jeff, particularly each other. 11-8 in race number 9 are Jeff's top 2 picks. Jeff, thanks so much for your time and insight today. Enjoy the final 4 games, and more importantly, God willing, I'll see you in Maui in November for what's shaping up to be a spectacular Maui Invitational college basketball tournament.
You and I, that's our November vacation, right? That's our thing. Forget Thanksgiving. That's where we're going to be.
We'll be wearing our Hawaiian shirts, that's right. For sure. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Next voice you hear will be track announcer Frank Miramati updating us. And also keep in mind, I should mention before we close, Coast to Coast Pick 5, again, offered every Saturday and Sunday, $1 minimum. It includes Gulfstream Park Race 14, which is the Florida Derby, as well as the Florida Oaks. So make sure you pay attention to the Pick 5 today. It's been paying boxcars lately and certainly overlaid. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, where the track is fast and the turf is firm. The rail on the turf is out 20 feet. Here are the changes. In the first, scratch number 6, Carmen Miranda, there is a revised morning line. In the second, overweights, numbers 1, 3, 4, and 5 are each 2 pounds over. Race 3, number 4, a new piece, has been scratched. And in the fourth, we